I see my name in shining lights. Yeah, a different city every night. Oh, I swear the world better prepare for when I'm a billionaire.
It's time to get down to business on the weekend's #1 business program. Known as the King of Networking, your host Shalom Klein has worked with thousands of entrepreneurs and created countless jobs. So, to success, let's get down to business.
And indeed, we are all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship and business. We talk a lot about business here. You are on with Get Down to Business, and I'm your host, Shalom Klein. Remember, you could always download podcasts from Get Down to Business on my website at shalomklein.com. And while you are there, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Shalom Klein. It's going to be a jam-packed week of content and information you will not want to miss. So let's jump right in. I am absolutely thrilled to be joined by two of the founders of the International Center for Breathwork in Chicago. I am joined by Nicole Price and Dan Brule, who joined me here on the air. Dan and Nicole, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's so nice to be here, Shalom.
It's great to have both of you. So let's jump right into it. I want to start in the beginning. And Nicole, I'll lead this one to you. Can you tell me more about the International Center for Breathwork? What is the mission of your organization and the story?
Yeah. So the mission of the International Center for Breathwork and the Breathing Festival is to bring the benefits of breath awareness and conscious breathing to every human on the planet. So we are going big, and we know that when you change your breath, you change your world. That is actually the theme of our festival. And Dan is the man who teaches everyone how to do that. He's taught me. I am a certified practitioner, certified by Dan. And he's taught over 267,000 people in the world. I don't want to embarrass him, but that's a really impressive number. So he's the one to learn from.
And so, Dan, why was the Breathing Festival created, and what does it offer? How many people did you receive from the very first event?
We started it as an event called the Cabo Breath Fest last year. We had about a couple of hundred people, and we had about 30 presenters. And you know, I've been part of the Global Inspiration Conference, the International Breathwork Foundation, and we've been sponsoring annual conferences for 20-something years, 27 years, I think. There was always in the summer. And I just wanted something in the winter because nothing was happening in the winter. I live in Los Cabos, and I thought, what a great idea. People come to Los Cabos for a vacation. And while you're here, you can learn how to use your breath to lower your blood pressure, deal with anxiety and stress and pain, and for performance and so on. And we were very touched by how many people responded with no marketing, no advertising, just an invitation. So we thought, okay, the world is ready. And then COVID came along, and we pivoted to virtual, and we realized, okay, it's even more ready than we thought. It's required now. Then, you know, the COVID thing has brought breathing front and center for people all around the world. And you know, most people, if you work in high stakes life and death situations, you're trained to breathe. And because, you know, millions of dollars are at stake and lives can be lost. But the average person, I believe, deserves those same advantages. You know, works on the battlefield, works in the playing field, works in the classroom, works in the boardroom. And so we need to get these skills and this knowledge out to everybody just for self-healing and self-care and self-empowerment, and just let's uplift the planet.
Absolutely. And again, I'm chatting with Dan and Nicole, who together with VJ and Mark started the International Center for Breathwork. And as Dan was just explaining, a place to welcome and support all styles, types, modalities, practices, flavors, and kinds of breathwork, and to support the practice of these simple yet unknown concepts throughout the world. So this event, the Breathing Festival, has gone virtual this year. So Nicole, back over to you. When did breathwork therapy begin? What are its benefits to people?
Oh my gosh. When did it begin? Really, the beginning of time, when people started breathing. And I'm the producer, right? So I'm always very busy. I'm always running around. I have so many things going on in my head at all times. And so it's really been helpful for me to learn to just stop and take a breath, to pause and take a breath. And I watched Dan, and he takes breaths. And when I do that, when I remember to do that myself, my whole life just flows better. I feel better. I think better. I work better. I'm more creative. Everything just works better. And I want to go back to something you just said a minute ago, Shalom. I love that you mentioned that we're really reaching for everybody, because that is absolutely the point of what we're doing. We want to make this easy. We want to make it simple, and we want to touch people who maybe wouldn't have come to us before because they either would never have heard of breathing and breathwork, or they would have thought it was different and strange and kind of woo woo. And so we're really combining all that to reach out to all different kinds of people.
And the virtual conference is certainly going to be a step in the right direction. It's interesting. Virtual, we were actually talking just off air, talking about technology. Virtual is actually, it's a tool. It's not a replacement. It is a tool, and certainly will help you reach even more people and expanding that message. So tell us, Dan, who are some of the well-known breathwork practitioners? And Leonard Orr, I understand that he is the creator of the technique called rebirthing. Tell us a little bit about your inspirations in this space.
Yeah, Leonard Orr is the father of rebirthing breathwork. I was in the military. I was a deep sea diver. I did underwater rescue, and I even held the record in the Navy for breath holding back in the early 70s. And I was using breathing, to control my emotions, to manage my arousal, to focus, for situational awareness, mental state, emotional state management. And so I was also a rescuer. For example, I was doing CPR. I'd come upon somebody who was clinically dead, and I'd blow into them and they'd wake up. What a miracle. Who wouldn't want to do that every day of their life, And then when I got out of the military, I was at University of Massachusetts. My mentor, Milton Young, introduced me to rebirthing breathwork. And in that very first session I did, 5 years of stress and tension just melted off me like snake off a skin. All my post-traumatic stress, everything I had been carrying and dealing with and self-medicating about just fell off me by practicing a certain rhythmic breathing. And so I was hooked. And now, so from that moment on, instead of coming upon people who are dead and breathing with them and making them alive, I could come upon people who are alive, breathe with them, and make them more alive. So it's the same work, a couple of steps up the ladder, and maybe more important than literal life-saving. I think the work that we're doing now is just as important as the work I was doing as a lifesaver in the military.
I love it. And one more question on the types of breathwork therapy before we go back to talking about the Breathing Festival. So Dan, there seems to be several different kinds of breathwork therapy from my research. Can you describe those types, and is one better than the other?
Yeah, there's a whole spectrum of breathing styles and schools and methods and approaches and practices. On one end of the spectrum, you got like the physical performance or just physical health. I have headaches, I have high blood pressure, I have asthma. Well, there are beautiful, powerful, unarguable, specific breathing techniques that you can do to address those physical things. And on the other end of the spectrum, you got people who want to see God, right? And in between, you got performers, you got psychotherapists, you got athletes. And so there are all these different applications of breath work for spiritual, physical, psychological, mental, performance, recovery, prevention. And so, there's this whole range, and it depends, and what style you practice depends on your level of health, your degree of skill, and your purpose in practicing. But whatever it is, there are styles and schools and methods that are perfect for you.
And we're going to make sure our listeners know where they can get in touch with your team. So Nicole, back over to you as we wrap up our conversation. Where can people learn more about the festival and everything that you do so they can perhaps enter into this journey with you and your team?
Thanks for asking, Shalom, and thanks for sharing our message and helping spread the power of the breath. We are online at thebreathingfestival.com. Nice and easy. We are also on Facebook and Instagram at thebreathingfestival.com. We are just ramping up all of our social media presences. We're on LinkedIn as well, and we're going to start up YouTube pretty soon. So we look forward to seeing everybody, sharing with everybody, and really, we're working to spread love. We're working to help raise the vibration of our planet. And so we need everybody to help us do that.
Well, it's again, one of the silver linings of COVID has certainly been the adaptation of technology, and the Breathing Festival is going live and virtual. And that means that more people can participate. So Nicole, one more time, that website?
That website is thebreathingfestival.com.
Fantastic. Nicole Price, Dan Brule, thank you so much for joining us on the air. And a shout out to our amazing sponsors and friends of the show. Check out healthplanchicago.com as well as chicagosignaturelimo.com for all of your health insurance and your transportation needs. We're going to squeeze in a quick break. More conversations about small business jobs and entrepreneurship right after we return in just a moment.